Good evening from Northdown Cricket Club here in Cumber, the venue for the 2014 Ulster Senior Cup Final. Game to be played between Waringstown Cricket Club and Civil Service North. Decided to do something a wee bit different this year and put together a video preview of the Cup Final, and I am absolutely delighted to say joining us on tonight's preview we've got the NCU Chairman Andy Clement, who will be talking a wee bit about the vital importance of the sponsorship of the Challenge Cup. But we've also got Raymond Moorland, the head groundsman here at Northdown Cricket Club, talking about the preparation required to put together a Cup Final wicket. Also, for a bit more of a match analysis of the game ahead, we've got former Irish international and Northdown stalwart Robin Haire, and joining him we've got the newsletter cricket journalist Alistair Bushe. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. Andy, Friday is obviously a massive game, final of the Challenge Cup. Always a big game for every player.
Absolutely, great spectacle. Looking forward to it on Friday. Another year sponsored by the Ulster Bank. Fantastic setup. I think it's a game that every player wants to play in, and I'm looking forward to favourable weather hopefully and a great day on the pitch. Just
talk to us about the importance for the union of the sponsorship with Ulster Bank over the years.
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic. We couldn't run a final, we couldn't run our leagues without the help of the Ulster Bank. The input that they put into all the leagues, all the cup matches, man of the match awards, it's all there. It's all a big package, and the union are delighted to continue with the package that they have with us at the minute.
Talk a wee bit about the actual cup final itself. Obviously, over the years I've played in some of the two-day finals and what have you. It's now moved to the one-day final. Just talk to us a wee bit about the change in that and to the one-day final. Do you think it's worked overall?
I think it has. I mean, having never played in the two-day one, I can't honestly tell you. But I mean, from a spectator's point of view, yeah, 2 days were popular. Still, obviously, going up in the northwest, but I think from a cricketing spectacle, we're happy with the 1 day and feel that it suits the purpose now. It gets a result on the 1 day, and people can take it from there. Yeah, but I think it's worked, and we're happy with as it stands now.
And a wee bit about the actual game itself. Obviously, Waringstown going up against Civil Service North. Who are the players to watch out for on both teams?
Well, if it was me, I think we've already discussed that Greg Thompson's not available. He would have been one. But for me, it's probably to the younger guys. I go James Hall, probably on the Waringstown side, who's obviously a hell of a player, and I think I'll tip my Muckamore roots on here, and I'll have to say Jason Van der Merwe is key to getting a CSNI off to a good start as well.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's going to win on Friday?
I'm going to go for a slight victory to Waringstown.
Thanks for your time, Andy.
Thank you.
Raymond, just give us a brief insight into the level of preparation that goes into producing a wicket for the cup final.
Well, Neil, we've been working on this wicket last week, on and off several days, and all of this week. So a fair amount of preparation goes in between rolling, wetting, brushing, cutting, marked at the day there. It's nearly pretty ready now. It doesn't need much more now to be ready for the final on Friday.
And the green's always known as a batting wicket. Are you expecting another big score to be racked up here again on Friday, Raymond?
Yes, I'm expecting a good score. This will be a decent track. Might seem about a wee bit. I'm going to keep it greener than I normally keep because there's a game on Saturday here, so I don't want to trim it down too tight. You know what I mean? I'll keep a wee bit of grass on it. Might sit Civil Service more than Waringstown, but it'll be a good batting track.
Just talking about the two teams, Waringstown and Civil Service, it'd be rude of me not to ask you, who are you plumping for in the final?
Well, I'm not really plumping for anybody. It would be nice to see maybe Civil Service win, because I think Waringstown are going to win the league. I wouldn't like one team to win cup and league, but Waringstown look the strongest team in the league.
And who are the game changers for both teams to look out for?
Oh, the game changers. Well, James Hall was very impressive here on Saturday. Hit the ball very cleanly. I haven't seen is it Gasgate?
Shane Gaskett.
I haven't seen him play, but he has got some decent scores now. He actually beat Waringstown in the league, so he would be a bit. Nigel Jones is obviously a big player. Kyle McCallan. Each team have at least 3 or 4 decent players that could win you a game.
Well, big man, you've got the place looking superb, and I'm sure the wicket will play absolutely beautifully on Friday.
We're depending on the good Lord to keep the rain away a wee bit now. We can't do much about the rain, but the ground will be in good nick. The ground's quick, the outfield's fast. wicket will be good. Made for a good game of cricket. It's up to the Lord up top there if he can keep it dry for us.
Thanks for your time, Raymond.
Not a problem, Neil. Thank you.
Here we are inside Northdown Cricket Club, and I'm delighted to say joining me to my left is former Irish international Northdown stalwart Robin Haire, and to my right the newsletter journalist, cricket journalist here in Northern Ireland, Alistair Bushe. And guys, let's start off talking about the Cup final on Friday. Robin, let's start off with yourself. Always a prestigious day for players and supporters alike.
Yeah, this is the biggest cup competition basically in Ireland. Some people might say even bigger than the Irish Cup. Certainly for Northdown players and supporters, the last 15 years, it's we've looked forward to many finals.
Alistair?
I grew up with watching the Challenge Cup final for in my youth. At that stage it was a 2-day affair. There were special occasions back at Downpatrick, especially from a Waringstown perspective back in the 1980s, when they basically almost won it every season. So I have nothing but fond memories for it. I know Waringstown as a club regarded that's probably the premier competition. Just
talking about cup final venues, obviously Northdown have had the cup final venue for the last maybe 5 or 6 seasons, Robin. You know, we've played in plenty of cup finals over the years at Downpatrick, at Stormont, etc. Where's your own personal favourite for the cup final?
Well, it's I mean, this is a superb venue, but I have always had fond memories of Downpatrick Cricket Club. When again, the same as Alistair, I was brought up actually watching cup finals in Ormeau. My father took me to the 1975 cup final at Ormeau when Waringstown absolutely hammered Northdown in a 2 innings competition. So that sort of got me hooked in the Challenge Cup, and of course, and then first won it in 1980 under Michael Reith, an ex-Waringstown player. So I would have to say probably Downpatrick would be my favourite venue.
Alistair?
I agree with Robin on this, but there's no better, certainly in terms of conditions, in terms of the pitch. I mean, Northdown Cumber has been the premier ground in the NCU now for quite some time. So if you want a place where you're guaranteed a good wicket and a good cricket wicket and a good fast scoring ground, I think this is the place to be. Tradition would probably say Downpatrick, but I know they had a period there where they struggled with drainage and stuff, and that's why it was, I think, taken away to here. And it's Northdown have done a great job over the last 5 or 6 years hosting it, I have to say.
Tend to agree overall, but I have to probably agree with Robin in terms of Downpatrick as a venue. For me, it's my favourite ground in the NCA. I thought it was a superb setting for a cup final. But something that Robin touched on there, talking about the 2-day final. Obviously the NCU have moved away from that over the last few years. The North West still have it. What's your thoughts on it? Has it worked well moving into a 1-day final, or would you be a bit more of a traditionalist and prefer the 2-day final?
Funny, because I've got a foot in both camps in the NCU and the North West. I've still been at the North West 2-day final over the last 6 or 7 years, and it still has that something really special about it. I mean, last year, Donaghmana Brigade, Donaghmana 70 runs behind in the first innings. It would have been a nothing final, if you like, a disappointing day. Donaghmana managed to overcome that 70-run deficit and beat Brigade in the second day. It was brilliant viewing, probably the highlight of last season for me in terms of reporting on cricket. And even 2 weeks ago again, I was up in the Northwest watching the final again, the same two teams, and it went right to the wire over the 2 days. There's just something different about a 2-day final. I was fortunate enough to play in one in the Junior Cup, slightly lesser occasion, but again there was just something really special that cricketers and fans as well look forward to.
Rob?
Yeah, I've been very lucky playing in actually 13 Senior Cup finals, both 2-day finals and 1-day finals, and from a selfish point of view, I always liked the 2-day finals, because if you did poorly on the first day with batter ball, you got a second chance really. In a 1-day final, you could have a bad game. But again, on a selfish point, usually the better team wins over a 2-day final, and Northdown this last 15-20 years usually had the better team going into a final. So the 2-day final was very special, but the sponsors wanted the 1-day final, and clubs wanted the 1-day final because they voted for it, so be it.
Just talking a wee bit about the ground, in particular the wicket for the cup final. We've already spoken to Raymond out there. Maybe a wee bit of criticism maybe levelled, which Raymond and certainly Northdown Cricket Club are not used to down here. The wickets are normally an absolute road, and you're expecting to rack up, if you win the toss and bat, you're expecting to rack up 270, 280. Maybe things are starting to, the wickets are certainly taking a bit more spin this year, but then Waringstown turn up here last Saturday and rack up 300.
Yeah, and I was here for that one, but I've also been here over the last couple of years, and seen conditions like what you refer to. And Waringstown bowled out Northdown twice here last season for less than 200, with Northdown batting first, and both occasions the pitch spun. The other side of that was in the cup final last year. It was maybe a similar type surface to what we're seeing out there at the minute. Waringstown batted first against Estonians, got over 260. I don't know, it perhaps spun, maybe you were batting in the second innings. I don't know if these conditions changed then, but it was certainly a fine pitch for batting. And last Saturday, was case in point Waringstown 309 against Northdown. And looking at the pitch tonight, it looks there's a bit of green there, which will be interesting for the seamers, I have to say.
Raymond's left a bit of grass on this wicket. Robin, your thoughts on the wicket?
Yes, we have left a bit of grass on it because we have been getting a little bit of criticism. The story is here at the moment we only have 5 Surreal wickets, and we have to keep a wicket for the Interprovincials, which we've hosted this year, and then 1 for the cup final. So that really leaves the first 11 playing on 3 wickets for 10, 11, 12 home league games. So I think the reason why it's turning a bit more this past 2 years, on the 3rd and 4th game, the wicket is going to deteriorate, so it is. So we've decided to leave a bit of grass on this wicket. Now it'll get a cut probably Thursday night or maybe Friday morning, so it will. But I think it'll be a very good cricket wicket. First 10 overs, there'll be a bit for the seam bowler in it, so there will. But as you know here, batsmen, if you get in 5, 6, 7, 8 overs, you'll score runs out there. There'll also be a bit of turn on it too.
Let's move on to the game itself and the two teams. Let's talk about Waringstown first and foremost. Key players for Waringstown, Alistair.
Last year's man of the match, Kyle McCallan, not only in terms of what he's capable of with the ball and with the bat, but as a leader. I know Lee Nelson's the captain, but Kyle has that big match experience going back over 25 years. He's absolutely massive. Lee himself, I think, is taking his game on to a new level this season. He probably didn't reach the heights last season that he would have expected. This season he's probably got the guts of 500 runs. He looks in great touch. Those would be the two that spring to mind first of all for Waringstown. Gary Kidd with the ball. I think it's fair to say over the last 2 years is bowling better than he ever has done. If you think that at one stage he was playing for Ireland, I think Gary's bowling a lot better than that now than he was when he was bowling for Ireland.
Also think, Alistair, just to interject, the Waringstown professional, Shaheen Khan, is a massive player. I've seen him go in number 5 or 6 and take the game away from teams in a 10 over spell. He'll have 50 off 30 balls, so he will, and he will get a bit of, I've seen him bowling this year a few times, he will get a bit of movement here in his first 5 overs with a new ball, so he will. But I think a team that Kyle McCallan, I agree with Alistair, Kyle McCallan, to me, it's actually, well, very surprising that he's batting 7 here last Saturday for Waringstown. I don't think he'll be batting 7 in the cup final.
I tend to agree with you on that one, but Kyle, self-admittedly, he's probably had his first, what you would call, average to poor season. Yeah. But you know yourself, in a big game, big players rise up. He got a fantastic ton here in the Challenge Cup final last year against Estonians. You wouldn't bet against Kyle McCallan doing something special on Friday morning again. Absolutely.
He's a big match player. It's as simple as that. And he'll be absolutely vital for Waringstown's chances of winning on Friday.
And I also think, Alistair, that I think this is Lee Nelson's time now. Lee Nelson, you can see, is improving massively the last 2 years. Now, it's just an opinion of mine, but this guy's ready to play for Ireland, so he is, in my estimation. But I think Lee will be looking here to bat 30, 35 overs and get himself 3 figures.
One player that we haven't discussed, and someone that I think is a superb cricketer, is James Hall. Very destructive at the top of the innings. If the ball's up in the slot, he's not afraid to hit you back over your head, over the clubhouse. Another key player for Waringstown, has been superb and very consistent. Something that maybe James could be labelled at James over the years. Hasn't been consistent enough, but he's been very consistent this year.
He has been very consistent, and he's playing more aggressively now. I think he really looks to get after the bowling more so at this stage of his career than in any other. And I think the key to this cup final could be how that Waringstown top order bat against the new ball here, especially if they're perhaps put in or up to bat first in the kind of conditions that Robin's talking about. The likes of James Hall, James McCollum and Adam Dennison are going to have a very key role, because that CSNI new ball attack are dangerous, and and have the potential to cause problems for Waringstown's top order. So James will be a key man.
One player who Waringstown will miss massively is Greg Thompson. I mean, he's been I would say, the cricketer of the year so far in the NCU. Unfortunately, he's away on honeymoon. I mean, he's another guy who can go in there about number 5, and in 10 overs time, he's 50 or 60 on the board, and has taken the game away from the opposition. Waringstown will miss him a lot, I think.
Moving on to Civil Service North, one of those teams that can be incredibly dangerous on their day, again have proven match winners. Who are you looking out for in the Civil Service team?
I'm looking out for Shane Getgate. I didn't see his 88 not out against Waringstown at Stormont, which won the league game between the teams about a month ago. But I've been hearing very good things. He's obviously useful with the ball, but I think it's with the bat that Waringstown will probably be particularly concerned about him. He was a match winner that day. He's one that really sticks in my mind.
Rob?
Nigel Jones comes into the final sort of with a hamstring injury. So, I mean, any time he's played at Cumber in the past 7-8 years, this seems to be a happy hunting ground for him with bat and ball. He loves winning the toss and fielding first and chasing, because he thinks he can chase anything out here, so he can. I think he's the main man for CSNI.
Regan West seems to have come back into the equation over the last 2 or 3 weeks, just in time for the cup final. Obviously a superb cricketer, hampered by injury over the last few years, but a massive plus if he plays on Friday.
Absolutely. I certainly didn't see this coming 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't think Regan had played until that point. But he's one of those big match performers that we talked about. He'll relish the big occasion. I think when he had the shoulder injury and retired from Irish duty, he found it hard to get up for club cricket. But so it's on occasions like this where there's a big crowd. It's the biggest stage in the NCU where Regan he'll relish this, and he'll probably bat at the top of the order. That battle between him and Can and Eagleston will be interesting. We
certainly came up against Regan on plenty of occasions down here, Robin, over the years, and some fantastic battles that he had with Timur Khan, the North Down professional, over the year. A fantastic cricketer. Yeah. He's an aggressive cricketer. He'll take the attack to Waringstown on Friday.
He certainly will. It's the only way he knows to play cricket. And again, this, I would say, if you asked Regan, would be his favourite ground. He's done very well here for several clubs against North Down this past 10 years, so he has. One player who I'm hearing won't be playing is a fella, Mark Adair. He's out injured. They'll miss him with the ball, so they will. He looks a very, very good prospect. Apparently he's injured, so.
Faced him a couple of times, Mark Adair, this season, and he's got genuine wheels for a very young 19-year-old. And as Robin says, that's going to be a big miss. But they do have Alan Coulter in there, someone who again on his day blows hot and cold on occasions, but whenever AC gets it right, he can rip 2 or 3 out at the top of the order very, very rapidly.
Waringstown will be concerned about that Civil Service North attack. If you look at that league game a month ago, Waringstown I think were 80 odd for 7, and that just hasn't happened to that batting lineup this season, apart from that occasion. Coulter was a big part of that, as was Mark Adair, as was Jonesy. I think Jonesy bowled 10 overs for 11.
10 overs, 2 for 10.
Yeah, 2 for 10 was it? Yeah, I mean.
One other player that we haven't discussed with about Civil Service is their professional, Griffin Neuveld. He has been in superb nick so far this season for Civil Service, and seems to be coming into a bit of form leading into the cup final.
He has. You referred to blowing hot and cold. Griffin's one of those kind of cricketers. He can go on lean runs, but then all of a sudden he finds his form and he's unstoppable for a month or so. And worryingly for Waringstown, he's in that kind of form at the minute. I believe his innings in the 2020 Cup final. That was probably the difference between
and semi-final.
And semi-final, both those occasions between winning and losing against Instonians and North Down. So they'll be banking another big performance from Griffin. He doesn't have the best record against Waringstown, incidentally. That'll be interesting to see if he can overcome that.
Yes, in the T20 final, Alistair he basically won the game on his own against our boys. 82 not out very quickly and bowled 4 overs very well. So he did. He'll be a key in the final, no doubt about that. Yep.
Talk about some of the senior players who we expect to be game changers here on Friday. Let's talk about some of the younger guys, certainly on the Waringstown side of things. Young McCollum and Adam Dennison, 2 cracking young cricketers.
Yeah, great prospects. James McCollum had a beautiful 89 here on Saturday against North Down. And I see over in Scotland this week, he's an 80 in the first game for the under-19s against Scotland under-19s. So he's coming in with a lot of confidence here in the final. And again, if he gets through the first 10 overs here, he'll enjoy batting out there.
And from a civil service perspective, it would be remiss of us not to talk about Jason van der Merwe, a real talent.
Yeah, real talent, and somebody who's getting better. He's really. We talked about James Hall up in this game this season. Jason van der Merwe is really. He's impressed me every time I've seen him this season. He's aggressive at the top of the order. He looks to get on with it from the start. And like Robin said with James McCollum, if he'll probably face testing enough conditions perhaps with a new ball. If he gets through that, he can be a real problem for Waringstown.
So, as you would expect, time for prediction time. Robin, who's going to win on Friday?
I think Waringstown will be too strong, Neil. I think they're the best team at the minute that I can see, and certainly in Northern Ireland by quite a bit. And as I say, when you've a batting line up with the likes of Jonathan Bushe batting 9 or 10, I think it's Waringstown for me.
Alistair?
I honestly think the key battle is going to be that Waringstown top order against that Civil Service North new ball attack. If Waringstown can emerge unscathed from that and can blunt that attack, they should go on and win it.
3 out of 3. I'm going to go with Waringstown as well for the cup final. Robin, Alistair, thank you both very much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.